name is Frank Cuccio. I'm a customer success manager here at BrainSell, and with me we have Ali Lippman, account executive, and Jenna Carrillo, also a customer success manager. Before we jump in, I want to just cover a couple of housekeeping items. This will be a 30-minute interactive discussion, so if at any time you have any questions, drop them in the box, and we'll be sure to answer them for you. You'll receive a Starbucks gift card to grab a cup of coffee on us in the email following this event. And we're going to be recording this, so we'll have the recording in your inbox hopefully tomorrow morning. I just wanted to give you a little bit about BrainSell. Most of you probably know us as just your sugar partner. And while that is true, we're a little bit more than that. We're a growth enablement company. We've been in business for 27 years. We started out as a VAR, value-added reseller, but we've really evolved into what we call growth enablement company. And our mission is to help companies position their people, processes, and technology for the fastest path to growth. So we do that with our range of portfolio products as well as consulting. And we specialize in helping companies digitally transform through business consulting, data modernization, and technology implementations and integrations. We're going to start off with 2 poll questions. First, we want to just have you rate your reporting proficiency within sugar. 1 being the lowest, 5 being the best.
I guess it doesn't let me vote.
All right. Then poll number 2, what are you using for reporting? So that could be Excel spreadsheets, sugar reporting, Sapiens BI, which we'll talk about a little towards the end. And then other additional BI tools like Tableau, Power BI, those sorts of things. And then if you don't know anything about reporting, you can pick the last one. This just gives us an idea of kind of your background. Cool. So looks like most of you are using Excel spreadsheets and sugar reporting. So that is good information to know. I think we'll get started at that point. So I'm going to hand it over to Ali, who's going to give us a little bit of a demonstration on some sugar reporting. I just wanted to start first. Ali, I talked to a lot of customers about different reports, and one that is probably pretty useful to everybody and tends to come up a lot is sort of building a report on the number of deals closed during a certain time frame. So opportunities won by user. Can you build something like that today?
Yeah, let's do it. Can you see my screen, by the way? I want to make sure I'm sharing the right one.
Yeah.
Sweet. Cool. Yeah, that's a great example of a report. I've heard that one a lot as well. And it's perfect because it will allow us to kind of go into the different capabilities of sugar reporting. Just want to give a quick tour around the reporting module for those who are new to it. And I apologize for the background noise in my house today, so hopefully it won't be too bad. So here in the reporting module, we have a list view, like you'll see in other modules, and a couple things that are really interesting just to note. You can see when reports are accessed on. You can sort by module or by report type. This will help you get to your reports faster. You can build filters. I like to sometimes filter by module. Also, SugarCell comes with a number of out-of-the-box reports. That's 140 to be exact, because are in my demo instance already built in. So they've taken a look at a lot of the different reporting use cases, and you can find some of those commonly requested reports or use them as a starting point to modify and build your own reports out. The other thing I like to do is favorite reports, and that way you can find them quickly in your drop down. Yeah. So let's get into it. All right. So you press the blue create button in the top right hand corner, and then you select your report type. I'm going fast because we don't have a lot of time, but we have 4 different report types that are available here. A rows and columns report is your typical tabular report of a data set. We can still filter it, but we're really just looking for rows and columns. This is great if you need to pull a customer list, say for a mailing campaign, or pull information down into Excel to be manipulated there. That's when I go for a rows and columns report. Then we have 2 types of summation reports, a summation report with details and your classic summation report. Your classic summation report is tabular, and it provides computed data based on a specific criteria. However, you can't add additional details or columns into the report like you can with a summation report with details. So we're going to start with this report type today. That way we can group by user, group our results by user, and see what their likely amounts were on those closed won opportunities. There's also a 4th reporting type called a matrix report. This is similar to a pivot chart down in Excel. So you can summarize your data and view it in a grid format and group it by different calculations. One other report type, just to note, that most folks who are on Enterprise and Sell will have access to is Sugar's advanced reporting tool. This just allows you to query the SQL database. Most folks don't use it. It's quite clunky. So, but just wanted to make sure that you knew that it was that was an option as well. All right, let's build our report. So I clicked into our summation reports with details, and now we're on the report wizard. Just to note, we're in a SQL database. Sugar's our front end, but when we query the database or when we use the report wizard, we are basically setting up a SQL report, but it gives us a UI to do so. So if that helps you, that's okay. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But the first thing we do is define what our data set's going to be, or select our module to use Sugar language. In this case, we're going to be looking at opportunity data. So let's pull that in. And now that we've selected our module, we're going to define our filters. Our filters help us skinny down our results. So if we just wanted to look at every opportunity ever, that would be one thing. We could pull a report on that, but we want to look at it by a certain date period, and we also want to look at it by user. And we wanted to look at closed won. Is that right, Frank?
Yeah, I was thinking we could look at, let's say, the past week by sales rep, how many, or the value of the opportunities that they closed.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. So,
and Allie, sorry, quick question. Will this also give us the option to show more details about the opportunity in the report?
Yes, it will. So let me get there, Jenna, but when I get to choosing our columns, if you'll remind me, we can talk about some of the details that we can add to the report, and maybe you'll have some ideas about what we might want to display. So let me get there. So first thing we're going to do is look for our date field. We're going to use the likely amount. So what I just did was I made sure that I was in the right folder here. I'm going to explain this folder structure a little bit. Our top folder is the module that I selected, opportunities, and every folder underneath is related data that relates back to the opportunities. So if we are on an opportunity view, you might see subpanels of related information down beneath the business card information. It's the same here in the report, except that you're looking at it in a folder structure, and that gets more and more granular depending on, you can open these up. For example, we know that there are contacts underneath accounts, so if we needed to bring in contact information, we could get even more granular with the report. So I always make sure that I'm clicked on the module where the field exists, and I verify this by looking right there and seeing that I'm on opportunities module. So let's add our date field. We're going to use the expected close date, and we're going to do the last 7 days. Actually, Frank, just for the sake of the demo, I'm going to do the last year because I don't know how up to date my data is in here. So we might not get any results back. And then we are also going to do closed one. So on the opportunity, let's just take a look at an opportunity record real quick. I just control-click to open the opportunity module in a different tab, and I'm going to open up an opportunity record just to familiarize myself with the data a little bit. So I'm going to jump into this one, XYZ funding. So I can see a couple things here. Revenue line items are enabled for opportunities, which means that we can get really granular and skew out different line items on a parent opportunity. Not everybody uses that. If you do, your sales stage lives down here on the revenue line items. And on the main record, we have sales status. So that means that our data for sales stage is buried a little bit, but that's okay. We like it. We can still get to it. It's still related. So I'm going to run down to the revenue line items module and look for sales stage. I'm going to just type in stage and it should come right up. And we want to do closed one. Perfect. Any other criteria, or did I get it all?
I think that's it.
Sweet. One other thing to note here is that you can select an operator. We have and or. You can't do that when you're running just a plain old filter, but it exists here in the reporting wizard. And you can do filtered groups. So if we wanted to see, say, opportunities from accounts that are in Massachusetts and Connecticut, we could create filtered groups to specify the criteria on a broader basis. Next thing we're going to do is define our group bys. This is an option that's available inside of all summation reports. So this is how we're going to group our data. We can think of this as our columns in a chart or our pieces of pie in a pie chart. So this is how we're actually going to summarize the data in the different groupings. And in this case, we're going to do it by assigned to user. I also see a lot of people do this by date. If you wanted to look at closed one by month or by date or by year, that'd be another really popular grouping. Our users are in a related field. Actually, every record in Sugar has an assigned to user, and that field relates back to the user module. And Sugar has it labeled for you really nicely here as assigned to user. So we're going to click into there, and you can see that I am now in that assigned to user module, and I'm going to search for the name field. Let's use the username now. We've got a couple different options. Sugar likes to break it out for us so that you could use first or last name if you wanted to. Username is a really safe bet. So let's do that for now. And now we're going to define our summaries. So down here in the fields, you'll notice that Sugar provides us with a few calculations. We're slightly limited in the out-of-the-box reporting wizard on what we can calculate. So we can do averages, we can do counts, maximums, minimums, and sums. So that's it. If you brought all this data down into Excel, you'd have the option to do a ton of different calculations on it. But with the out-of-the-box reporting wizard, they've decided that these are the ones that are most commonly used. You'll probably use count and sum the most. So we're going to do the sum of the likely amount as our summary. And now we're going to choose our columns. So Jenna, to your point, this is where we'll give the report all of the details that we want. So when I'm building reports for myself, I really like to know the name of the record and the name of the account. So watch, I'm clicking into accounts now, and I'm looking for that name field for accounts. It just comes up as name in my labels. So I'm actually going to relabel it as account name. This will already be specified, but why don't we add the user as well? Jenna, is there any specific columns that you can think of that you'd like me to add here?
These look good for now. I'm just checking out the side here. Because we already included date, correct?
Yeah, so we actually, that is a great point. So we have filtered on it, but it's not going to be in the column. So we can assume that everything is within that window, but we don't actually have a column yet for expected close date. So why don't we add that in so we can see exactly when they closed in the report?
Great.
Okay. So next we get to tell Sugar whether or not we want a chart. And in this case, yeah, let's do a chart. Why not? Let's do a stacked vertical bar chart. Yeah, maybe I'll group it. So the data series is based on the sum right now. That's the only summation that we gave it. And we could provide a description if we wanted to. We won't go that wild there. Let's call it test for the webinar. And I'm going to select all of these different checkboxes. And the reason I do that is, and I'm sure that there's some kind of use case for this, but Sugar will omit information that is not related back to, or not related back to, a named primary module record. And we want it to show us everything. So I would recommend almost 90% of the time that you just check off all of those boxes so that we're getting back all of the data that is related to the core module. All right, and let's run this thing. All right, so first thing you'll notice is that our details are up here. This just gives us a little bit of a preview of what we told the reporting wizard to do. Then we have our chart here. So our chart shows us by rep the amount of closed won opportunities they have this past year. And then down here we have our details. So this is the tabular information, but we specified columns of details that we wanted to see. Expected close date is here. You know, now we know which close date, you know, when and which month something closed. And we can collapse this if we want to take a quick look at the data, or expand it if we want to see all of those details.
Cool. 2 questions. The report looks great. So we have it kind of separated by the total value. Would we be able to add in, you know, the count on the opportunities on that same chart, or do we have to do a separate report for that?
No, well, you could do a separate report, but you could also go back and add that as a data series. So to do that, you click this little caret next to run report and then select edit. You'll also see that we could select copy. So if you wanted to use this as a starting point, or wanted to use one of Sugar's stock reports as a starting point, you could press the copy button.
Cool.
So let's edit. And we're going to dive right back into our summaries. And we're going to change this to count, or let's just add count so we can see
let's
both.
add it so we have both. And then the other question I saw come in, and I just saw it pop up on the screen again, is they wanted to know more about what the runtime was and whether or not that should be selected.
Sure, yeah, let me go back to filters as well, and we'll do both at the same time. Okay. Yeah, I love runtime filters. They put the filter right into the report so that you don't have to come back into the edit every single time you want to change your criteria, particularly around date fields, or if you're filtering by user. You want to have a little bit of flexibility of who or when you want to add data back into the report. So let's click runtime. I'll show you what that looks like. We can also do it on our sales stage here. That way, if you wanted to switch to closed lost, you'd be able to do that right from within the report. Makes things a little bit easier. So we're also going to change our data series on the chart to count instead of sum of the likely amount. And that way we can see the number of opportunities closed won instead of the likely amount. And we might notice that some of our reps have higher dollar amounts and less volume of opportunities. Those are different ways that we can grab insights from that. So there they are. We have a new block in here. This is runtime filters now. So we can change our expected close date. We can mess around with this with any of the dates that Sugar has provided to us. We're a little limited here. We don't have a ton of options. Most of them are good. You might like between if you're looking at a specific date range. The quarters will match up with whatever your quarters are and however you've configured Sugar. But this is a little bit limited, and this is the reason why some folks choose to use a different BI tool. And then we have our sales pages here, of course. So the series has changed, and now we're looking at count instead of likely amount. You'll see the count is 11, amount is like and then if we collapse our data here, we also get the count on the grouping down in the report. So we have a likely amount and we have a count.
Cool. So runtime, just to summarize, if you're going to be in this report and wanting to, modify some of the criteria, you'd want to select runtime when you're building it. So you don't have to just keep going back and forth. I think that's the easiest way to say it. Now, speaking of going back and forth and running a report multiple times, let's say my boss wanted to get this report in their inbox every Monday. How would I go about doing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a couple ways to access reports without ever having to enter into the reporting module, and scheduling them is one. So I'm going to double answer this question because I want to show you all the ways that you can utilize reports from within Sugar. So the first thing that I would recommend in that scenario is to create a schedule, which you can do from the same drop-down option next to Run Report. This is going to create a report schedule record here, and that is going to tell the system when to send the report out to whoever you assigned this record to. So, so you select your report, then you select how often you want it repeated. Here's another area where we're a little bit limited. These are our options. We have got some other third-party options for customizing around this, but at this point in time, our report schedules are only available for these specific options. Then you click save and they will begin to receive the report based off of the schedule that you specified here.
Allie, could non-sugar users receive these notifications and reports?
Great question. Out of the box, no. Only sugar users can receive reports. However, like I mentioned, we're going to be looking at some tools on our second part of the series that do allow you to send sugar reports to people who are not sugar users.
Cool.
Okay, Frank, I promised you I was going to double answer your question. So I am. I'm gonna jump over to a dashboard here, and I want to show you how we can add our report to a dashboard. So I'm just on the one of the dashboards, and we have this hamburger here in the bottom right-hand corner. If you click on Add Dashlet, and then navigate to the Save Reports Chart dashlet, you're able to take that chart and put it on any dashboard you want. So let's look for test for webinar. There it is. We can put a refresh on here. So if you've got your dashboard open all day, it will refresh itself, which is kind of nice. And then we can specify, if we want to look at totals, it can be as simple or as complicated as you like when it's on your dashboard. And then it will pull open that information. You can adjust this to however you want or put it wherever you want on the dashboard, so you're able to look at it whenever you feel like you need to. This is all drillable too, by the way, which I love. So you could be like, what's Chris up to? And then jump right into his opportunities, take a look at things. You can use the preview or or even jump around from account to account here.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Yeah. So if you wanted to do the dashlets, does it have to be a chart report, or can you put a list of like the stuff we saw below on the last screen?
Oh, like the details. Yeah, that's a great question. Yes and no. And I'll tell you why yes and why no. So we do have an option for dashlets, and hold on, I just want to relabel this because it's driving me nuts. Sorry about that. We do have an option to add a list view dashlet into our dashboard. I'll show you how to do that. And that gives us a filtered view, but filters aren't reports. So we have some limitations when we're using filters. Like filters only exist for one module. You can't filter off related information. So let's navigate to the list view, and I'll show you how I would approach that. So I'm going to look at opportunities, same data set that we built our report on. And I'm going to select for my columns here, let's do the name of the op, the account name, the status, the likely, and then I'm going to get rid of everything else. And the reason I do this is because you don't have a lot of real estate on your dashboard, and you don't really want a ton of, you only want what's very important. So we get rid of some of these fields. Let's filter the information. So I'm going to build a filter. Let's do opportunity name. Oh wait, that's not what we wanted. We want date. So expected close date is last year. And then, so we're, instead of using the sales stage from the revenue line items, because that's a related module, we're going to use the status from the opportunity, which is here. And let's select closed one. And let's just save this information and see what we got. Okay. So it looks like this. It's just the details, doesn't have the chart.
Okay.
But, you know, similar, it's just filtering down information in one module, and then you can add it to your dashboard as opposed to having a visual element with information from related records.
Awesome. I think we wanted to move on to Q&A at this point. We only have a few minutes left.
Okay.
I did see one question that came in though. That can we report on like the time it takes to move stages in the sales cycle, or you know, a report on when things actually move to closed one?
Yeah, that is a really great question and a highly requested use case. Actually, we do that on our scorecard here at BrainSell every week. Of course, you would want to be able to see what moved into closed one in a certain period of time. Here's the issue. The issue with that, Sugar is capturing all of that information. You have the ability to audit any field inside of Sugar, and what the system will do is create an audit table that basically keeps a change log of all of the times a record's been saved and the specific fields that were saved. You have access to this information. The trouble is, those audit tables are not available in Sugar out of the box reporting, like for a good reason, because they can get a little bit confusing. However, it's not impossible to report on that information, and it's great that the CRM is already tracking it. We will use a third party for this, and next time on this series, we're going to be talking about Sapiens BI, which allows you to do just that. So that's our solution here at BrainSell, and we use it to report off of stage changes and when they changed.
Okay, so again, it seems like the ones that we haven't been able to do, it's all going to be covered next time. So
yeah, so we'll get to it on our next series.
Yeah, definitely make sure you attend that one.
Yeah, this was all really great, but you know, it was a lot. And what do we do if we need some one-on-one help?
Sure. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, we would love to help you. We actually are, I think in our call to action here, we're going to be going over an audit program that we have for folks who want to take a look at their reporting health and jump on the phone. So that's something that you can take advantage of just for coming here today. However, we do offer customized reporting training packages. We can jump on and identify what kind of reports you need. At BrainSell here, we're huge on data modernization, becoming data enabled. We've gone through it as an organization. We know where a lot of the shortcomings are, and we want to help you get there. So there's a lot of different approaches to getting the insights you need out of your data, and you know, we're here to help with whatever direction that is, whether it's some specific, sorry, can't say that word, some specific reporting help within Sugar CRM, or looking at more of a overall data, company data strategy.
Great. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining today's first coffee break series. And don't forget to sign up, as you see right here, for part 2. It's going to happen on February 3rd. So if you are going to attend, we will offer a 1-hour reporting health audit. And then just as a reminder, we are going to share this recording. You'll be receiving it from Karsten on our team, and she will also be following up later this week or early next week. So thank you so much, everybody, and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye now.
Bye.